I always feel like you learn more from failure, always. So the unexpected outcomes, the things that didn't go well, both clinically, but also as a business owner. I had a kid in yesterday, not been for 2 years, but I saw him through his teenage years. He said, "Oh, Mick, I want some bonding or something. I've started working, I want some bonding." I said, "Don't be silly, man. Like, you just need to maybe whiten your teeth and you'll have a decent smile." I want to stay ethical with everything that we do.
Today on Successful, we have another inspiring guest. We have Dr. Mikhil Ameen. I'm particularly inspired by Mick because of his refreshing approach to building a business. He goes back to the basics. There is no magic. It's good old-fashioned care. And I particularly love his values around family and splitting time. This is going to be an interesting conversation. If you were opening another practice today, what core principles would you apply to make that practice successful?
So I'd make sure I was present as possible, but not necessarily I was the one treating, right? Like even in my practice now, when I'm free, I'll go sit on reception. I'll check patients in. Well, sometimes there's no space for me on reception, so I'll just walk around the waiting room, smile at patients, have a chat with them. And I would make sure that I would do that.
Today on Successful, we have another inspiring guest. We have Dr. Mikhil Ameen. I'm particularly inspired by Mick because of his refreshing approach to building a business. He goes back to the basics. There is no magic. It's good old-fashioned care. And I particularly love his values around family and splitting time. This is going to be an interesting conversation. Mikhil, thank you very much for coming on Successful. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I know you're not someone that wants to be in front of cameras or come online, but I really wanted to have you here because I like the way you think. So how do you feel being on camera?
Yeah, as in, put me on a stage talking in front of 1,000 people, no problem. But being on camera, it's past my comfort zone really. But we're here.
I can relate to that. Over the years, I've followed your journey. Obviously, we've worked together for so many years as well. And I've been quite inspired by the way you run your life and you run your business. And I could speak to you for half an hour and I'll pick up 3 different ways in how to approach life and business. So just want to help our audience understand success from Mick's point of view. Just tell us about your journey, your business, your practice.
And so I'm from Northwest London, typical. I went to school that way and I worked in and around like Oxford areas and home counties that way. And then I decided to buy a practice. I was looking around there, couldn't find anything. And by coincidence, I was dating a girl from Kent. And then a practice came up that was about 20 minutes from her house, family house. So I was like, I'll go see it. So I went, saw it, and I thought, maybe. I looked like the bones of the practice were there, but
What year was this?
this was August of 16, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, quite a few years ago. And then we put an offer down and it got accepted. And actually the old owner of there, the previous owner, was probably one of the only owners that actually took me seriously because I was 20, I think I was 26 at this point. So I was young.
Are you 35 now?
I'm 35
Yeah.
now. So no, I'm 36. I just turned 30.
Okay, say happy birthday.
And I used to get laughed out of most of these viewings because they were like, "There's a kid here. Or like, what's the point?" And it wasn't daddy's money or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it wasn't Hank, mum and dad, was it?
No. So he took me seriously, and he actually had an offer that was higher than what we put in, but we built up a relationship and a rapport, and we had a handshake. And he was a gentleman, and he said we had a handshake, so we're good. So fine. He accepted, and then in Feb of 17, I got the keys. And I remember what we used to call it, the local area team or primary care trust, whatever it was called back then. They're like, "We think you're the youngest owner of a contract right now in the country." I was like, "Oh, that's nice." I just turned 27. And that was a start. That was a little 3-surgery practice, purpose-built, but 3-surgery practice.
Yeah.
And now we're 9 chairs. Not at 100% occupancy, but 9 chairs. And yeah, we run 7 or 8 chairs constantly every day, really. And so, yeah, so we do all right.
How has practice ownership been for you? What have you learned along the way? Because I know we won't see you at courses or on Instagram. Where has your learning come from?
I always feel like you learn more from failure, always. So the unexpected outcomes, the things that didn't go well, both clinically, but also as a business owner. You invest in certain things work, certain things don't work. I tried an Instagram campaign once, did not work for me. Not at all. And then I tried SEO and it really did work. So, like there's certain things, but it's not being afraid to invest and try again and then understand that sometimes things don't go right and let's find another way. But it's the same. So at the same time as I had this clinic, I had all the dentists at that point were older than me, which was helpful because I was still learning clinically how to do dentistry because I was like 27 years old, barely been practicing for a few years. So I needed just as much clinically as I did in business. And so lots of reinvestment in time and money, and that's what helps shape. And I always tell my associates even now that when they're trying something for the first time, you'll learn more from the failure than you will from the success. Foundation dentist in this week, and she had something she didn't get compliance from a child for an extraction. And I told her, I was just like, but this was a good appointment because you didn't achieve what you thought you were, yeah, unexpected outcome, but you found a way where it perhaps didn't work. And that's what I found in dentistry and in business, right? Just because it didn't work doesn't mean you didn't learn anything.
And your team to run a 9 surgery practice, how's it been with managing so many people and getting them all on brand to do things the way you like to do things?
I stay consistent. I'm always the same with them. And I always try to be a friendly face even when it doesn't, because we have a rule. There's a threshold at the practice, there's a door. We try and leave whatever's in the practice, and we try and leave our personal things at home, at home. All right, sometimes they do come in, but just because I've woken up on the wrong side of bed doesn't mean I come into work and then start taking out on people there. That's not how it works, right? Because there's a different family. My work family is different to my home life. We have a threshold at the door, and we always tell everyone that starts that once you pass this door, it's different to what you've had at home. And we have the same energy in the practice all the time. And try and stay consistent with them, but I also don't expect 100% from them every day. Don't expect my staff to give 100% every day. I'm good with them giving 70%. And I don't even tell them it needs to be 70% every day. I said, one day if you can give me 100%, great. If the next day you can only manage 50, that's fine.
So you tell them to perform at 70%?
Yeah, because, the support staff in dentistry are necessarily the highest paid profession, and we're not here to discuss how we can improve that. And I don't have the budget to be able to, put them all on £30 an hour like I wish that it could be. So I don't think you can expect 100% and pay what the market rate is for your nurses and your receptionists. I think 70% is a reasonable number. And also they're human. I don't give 100% every day, right? I don't give 100%. My associates don't give 100% every day. We all have off days. Some days we do. Some days you kind of just want to curl up, right? You don't really want to do as much work. You're not as highly motivated some days as you are other days. Some days you're more easily distracted. So I think 70% is fair, but I always tell you the same thing. If you're happy with 70% on a deal, I'm happy with 70% on a deal. I told you happy. Yeah, I told you before that. You tell me you're 90% and I'm at 70, I'm not happy with you because I could have got a little bit more.
You are a new age Indian. I like the way you've evolved the Indian philosophy of
Yeah.
bargaining. There's still, I think you're not coming clean with how you've got here today. There's obviously things that I've noticed about you. Your communication is out of this world. You're a people's person. What can our audience learn about building a practice like yours, which doesn't rely on marketing, right? What has worked for you that people can implement in their own practice?
So we always describe our practice to our patients as a community practice. So we've always emphasized to our patients that we want to be part of this community. We don't think we're above and beyond anyone that lives around us. We treat everyone the same. And they then start to see us as part of their community too. So they want to support us as much as we want to help and support them, right? So being part of a community, and I don't think it matters how big or small that community is, right? It helps then with their dentist, right? As opposed to the dentist that's up the road. So when they have their conversations at home and someone needs a dentist, they say, well, go to my dentist, as opposed to there's a dentist up the road, right? So being part of a community gives you like a sense of belonging.
So there's novel and no name in Graves in a cat. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the wider part of Canada. In our local area, yeah, sure, like our patients know us, or they know us as Riverview Park Dentist because we're in that little
Right.
part of it. But yeah, It's part of being in a community, and that's where then the referrals come, right? That waterfall effect of word of mouth, right? And that goes so much further because we treat our patients. You know that whole thing they tell you at uni is, "Oh, what would you do if it was your mum in the chair? Or what would you do if it was your sister in the chair?" And that's how we treat our patients. It's spend time, understand why they're nervous or they've not been for a while, or understand what their gripes are about dentists, and try and dismiss those fears and those feelings. So
It
yeah,
must be something you've been doing differently though, because being part of a community, is there anything that you've done that's different?
I mean, I never ever wanted to target that bonding and whitening and a
Why is that?
highly cosmetic thing, because certain times it feels like it's a race to the bottom. Like certain times, there's a lot of like price gauging, and those patients to me don't have a great lifetime value, right? Like I would rather a patient who comes in a bit of pain, nervous, hasn't gone somewhere for a while. I can change their perception of dentistry. I can help them get over their fear. I can treat their pain. They're going to come back as a returning customer. And I will see them for the next 10, 15, 20 years because we've built a rapport, we build a relationship. And that to me, profitability wise, is going to serve me much more. And I think I'll get more referrals from that patient. There's more people in pain or who are scared of the dentist than there are patients who need
Yeah.
bonding. So why would I target a group that's potentially already been really targeted through like social media and Google when I can target a group that not that, well, in my opinion, not that many people want to focus on, and try and change their perception. And I mean, it's worked for us because we always want the general patient. We want the patient that is the not sexy patient for the Instagram. We want
You
that
know, it's
patient.
funny you say that. I often get asked, how can I get more implant patients? I want high ticket patients. And I say to them that, "Look, you can market to that audience, but implants are sold in the chair. They're
Mm,
through relationships.
yeah,
The only people really searching for implants are if they've already had a treatment plan, or if it just happens to be they've understood what an implant is and then they're looking for a dentist.
yeah.
But most of the time, it's happening in the chair, right? So you're building a great relationship.
That's what I've always told your team is that all I need is the bum on the seat,
Yeah,
right? Because the rest of it's my job.
yeah,
And that doesn't mean we don't do we do a lot of cosmetics, but that's not what we've targeted. It typically happens because that patient's grown up with us, and at some point they've turned around and said, "Oh," but it's being honest. I had a kid in yesterday, not been for 2 years, but I saw him through his teenage years. And he said, "Oh, Mick, I want some bonding or something. I've started working. I want some bonding." I said, "Oh," I said, "Don't be silly, man. Like, you just need to maybe whiten your teeth and you'll have a decent smile." And he goes, "Yeah, but everything I see." I said, "You got a good smile. Your teeth are straight. Your teeth are healthy. Fine. Get uplifting color. But why do you want to spend thousands of pounds when a simple perhaps whitening treatment will solve it?" I said, "Try that first. If you're still unhappy, then let's see." But I listen to a patient and I want to stay ethical with everything that we do, right? So yeah, it's very easy at that point to be like, "All right, let's see. Let's see, how can we get you to spend as much money as possible? You already told me you want bonding,
yeah.
so I might as well now
That's
nil."
that's an easy
Right, that's
conversion.
an easy conversion. But no, it's all right, let's not. Because you know what? He's got a mum, a dad, a sister, and I see them all. And they all switched to me privately recently. They because of their working pattern, it was easier for them to come in the evenings. But it's staying honest with your patients, right? And communicating effectively with them what they do and don't need. It's just as important to tell them what they don't need than what they do need.
So does your practice do anything for the children of the community, with it being a practice focused on community?
We had a toothbrushing club for a while, actually.
Yeah.
So that was always our threat with the kids is, if you don't brush your teeth properly, you're gonna come in before and after school, and you're gonna brush your teeth. And at least then we know that twice a day. And we did that for quite a long time. So we used to have a book, and the parents used to bring the kid. Normally we said, "Fine, forget before school," because they start before we get there. We said after school every day. We used to have this line of kids that used to come in, and they used to use our patient toilet downstairs, and they used to brush their teeth, and then they'll show us. So these weren't appointments in like diaries. This is what we used to do in between, right? So we would just check their teeth quickly, right, they're nice and clean. And then we told them, right, do it consistently for 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever it might be, and then fine.
Yeah.
And then your mum and dad will bring you back if you don't, right? So they knew they will carry out the threat. We even told one mum, "Oh, my kid, all he does is play PlayStation." It's just like, drop me the PlayStation. Put it in the cupboard. When he brushes his teeth, he can have it back." She did. I was joking around with her. She came with a PlayStation, left it in the cupboard for 6 months. She said, "You can have it back in your next checkup." And she did. So it's just positioning yourself in that community that where, like, I'm a parent, they're a parent. We see it like we're all on the same
Yeah.
page. We're all trying to raise these children in our community together and the
Yeah.
same, right? Just to get the best possible
Do you
outcomes
think
for them.
people feel that energy? That I'm coming as a parent, I really care, as opposed to a practice that's quite glossy, upselling a lot. Do you feel the difference?
As in, I think they do more so now. I think there was things that I did before where I was perhaps too harsh with the kids or too, you know, I don't think I was a parent enough yet at that point to understand exactly what they were going through.
Yeah.
So since like having a kid and understanding what kids can be like when they brush teeth, I got first-hand experience now, right? So now I can empathize with their situation a lot more. So how I deliver my information to that family has greatly changed since I got my own family.
How old are your children?
I got a 3-month-old and a 3.5-year-old. Or yeah, yeah.
So how do you split time between a 9 surgery practice and family?
Typically, I like to leave my work at work. And I leave my like I have my head receptionist, my head nurse, my practice manager, and then all my staff have their duties that they need to do and they follow. And I empower them to do their jobs. And they do their jobs well and they all kind of look out for each other. So if someone's not doing part of their remit very well, the other one will help them out. And they know bother me when when something really isn't being actioned and we need to really take action. But my team around me do so much of the admin and the work like that that I'm only really making like the executive business decisions really and focusing clinically. I still do a lot clinically and I involve them in the decisions. So when we were talking about software the other day, I was like, right, if you guys want to change software, do your research. I say, here's a couple of companies, do your research. I told my receptionist, I was like, probably affects you more than anyone.
Yeah.
And come to me with which one you want. And then we can have some meetings. So I don't make unilateral decisions in my business because it affects so many people. So I sit with my associates if you want to change something, or I sit with my nurses, like they wanted a new autoclave, like another one. So sorry, I sat with them. Which one do you want? Right, because I would pick it doesn't.
Yeah.
I would pick one probably that was gonna cost less, right? But they're gonna pick one that suits their needs best.
So
So
do you get to spend enough time with your kids?
yeah, so I try to be present. I don't work on Fridays. I might take a few meetings, but I don't work on Fridays. I drop Ryan to nursery like 3 days a week pretty much. And when I get home, I try to just be at home, and I might do a little bit when they go to sleep, but not really. I try to spend time with my wife. And yeah, I feel like now I'm at a position more so where time and money have the exchange, right? So for me, my measure of success is how much free time do I have to spend with my kids and to spend with my wife. So my wife wants me to take a day off to go for lunch or go shopping or something. Yeah, I will because I married her. Like, of course I want to spend time with her, right? If my kid wants me to take the day off because he wants to go to the zoo, yeah, cool. Like, I'll take you. I don't have that success for me, right? Having that
Where does that
ability to have
thinking come
time.
from? Because I don't know many principals that will just take off days for family. Work is work, and then what's
Yeah.
left over is for everything else.
I've my dad worked. My dad has a pharmacy in London, or two pharmacies in London, and he was doing like 100-hour plus weeks. Like he was doing 7 to 7, 6 days a week. And I only really used to see him on like some Sundays, but then he'll be so tired from the whole week. And my mum used to work like 2, 3 jobs. So it's in like we didn't see so much time with family. I mean, we spent time together. I had a good childhood, but it was they were there for the big moments, but not necessarily like all the small moments. Especially like my dad, I didn't get to see any like sports games and stuff like this, or like come to like school plays, like like those things you do that you're looking out for your dad in the crowd, or you're looking out for your mum in the audience. And I just thought when I get older and I have my family that I wanna when they're looking out, that I wanna be there, right? So I wanna be present because I can work when they're grown up. I can work when I'm grown up. Look, we take care of ourselves quite well, right? I don't sit there and think, oh, I need to retire by 45. I need to retire by 50. I don't care if I'm working till 60. That doesn't bother me. I like what I do. I like seeing my staff. I like seeing my patients. I enjoy what I do. So I've got longevity in my career. So, but my kids are only kids for a small amount of time. Have you seen that chart with how much time your kid spends with you?
Yes.
And right, it's like a huge, like 90% of their kids' time spent with adults is like
Yeah.
before they're 5 or something. Why would I not want to do that? I chose to have children. I chose to get married. So if I don't want to be around those people who I made those decisions with, then what's it all for? I'd rather have less.
You know, it frightens me because I hear so many parents now. They've got grown-up kids. My daughter's 9. Grown-up children are saying, I didn't really see my parents so much. And the parents are like, we're working for you. We gave you
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, but I don't remember spending too much time with you. And it just makes you reevaluate how important that is because you've obviously had that realization from early on with your own experience. That am I right in thinking
Yeah.
that you don't want this to happen with your children?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like my parents did everything they could and I had a good childhood. I wouldn't change my childhood like that at all. But yes, I don't want them to ever turn around and have that whole, "We had everything, but I didn't see you." Because actually the everything's changed, right? Like that little Paw Patrol toy, they're not gonna remember that
No.
in 5 years or 10 years. They don't care about that. It's gone to
Yeah.
the charity shop, right?
Yeah.
They but they'll remember if you were there. They'll remember the days out, and they'll remember building Lego,
Yeah.
like, halfway through the day. They'll remember those moments.
I remember speaking to a lady called Joan Freeman. She used to live behind the office, one of the world's leading child psychologists. And this is before I had Helena. And I asked her, Joan, can you just tell me what a parent really needs to do to be successful? It's very simple. And she used to give therapy to some of these children who are
Mhm.
13, 15, 16. All children will remember is the play you had with them. And she also said that play with them, be fully present, but don't teach them during play. So don't correct them
Yeah.
if they're saying something wrong. So I've always carried that with me. So even when Helene says, yeah, I might be busy, and she'll say, I want to play Monopoly. I say, no problem. We'll do that. If that's what you want to do, we'll do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Because that's going to be a memory in the future that I want her to have.
Yeah.
So it's conscious parenting, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just there's loads of time, right? I know loads of principals and business says, "Oh, it's not time." I always say I'm time poor, but that's not. I'm not time poor. It's because I put time into certain things and I close that box, right? So when I say I'm time poor, it's because I've allocated my time so that every sort of minute has its designation, right? So yes, I don't have much free time for me, but that's okay because I chose to get married. I chose to have children. I chose to have a business. I chose to have hobbies. Like I chose all those individual things. So if there's not much free time at the end for me, well, that's because I made all the other choices and decisions. So all of those started with I, right? So me time, those are all part of that because I chose all those things first.
Often business owners, but particularly principals, something is getting neglected, usually family time, themselves, something in the pursuit of making a business work. But would you say you've designed your business to fit around your priorities, which is family and your team?
Yeah, so I mean, the amount of people I speak to say, "Oh, you don't open Saturdays." Like the amount of principals or marketing people or even people who've tried by me to sell my practice, "You don't open Saturdays." "I know we don't open Saturdays." "Why don't you open Saturday?" "You know, you make so much money if you open Saturdays." And yeah, I know. I know we will. It would be great. I'd probably fill a whole Saturday with 9 surgeries, but my staff need some time with their families. My dentist needs some free time or with their families, and I need mine. Because if I need to do a Saturday, I should be expected to also contribute to that Saturday, right? But why would I give up my free time?
What's
If
your
I
view on money and income? Because a lot of things you're saying here are counterproductive to your EBITDA, right?
Yeah.
So what's your view on income?
As in income's important, and the money I earn is a direct reflection of the time that I need, right? So if
Yeah.
I can make enough money that then affords me to have enough time to do what I need to do in my personal life, right? Then that's enough for me. I don't necessarily like. I live in a semi-detached house. I don't need a Ferrari on a driveway. I'm not that guy. Like, yeah, I like nice things. I like nice clothes. I like going to nice places. So yes, I enjoy shopping and I enjoy those materialistic things as well. But I don't want that, £2 million house, £1 million house with a bunch of supercars on driveway. I don't need any of that. That's not me. I
That
don't.
doesn't excite you.
No, no. And I know it sounds really boring, but I'd rather trade that all and have a couple of holidays a year and spend some time with my
Yeah.
family. Because that for me, that's where the income to time is, right? So yes, I can work harder and have more and achieve in business more and have a bigger house and have a fancier car, but then I have to give up my time. I have to give up my time with my family. I have to give up my time with my kids and probably not really watch them grow up. Because we're fortunate that like our parents gave us a head start in terms of they sent me to school and they fed me, clothed me, and do this. We're not the first gen migrants, right? We're the second gen migrants. So we had some help already, right? Not like financially with the business or the house and stuff like that, but we've had some help. So we're starting at a higher step than they.
Yeah.
So they had to sacrifice everything so we ate, right? We don't have to do that same
No,
sacrifice now.
it's a choice now, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So my dad would talk to me, he goes, another day off today? Just like, yeah. And before he used to say, you don't work hard enough. And now he says, I hope you're taking the kids out. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Like that's what it is. So yeah, I take off all the birthdays and I take off as much time as I need to so I can spend quality time with them.
As a young dentist, I mean, you're still a young dentist, but as a beginning dentist, at the start of your journey, and if you compare yourself to young dentists now, I think with the rise of social media and this hype in cosmetic dentistry, I'm finding that young dentists have a lot more issues when it comes to self-confidence, self-belief, which direction they're going in. They're going in a direction which is, a bit of rinse and repeat. I'm going to follow that formula. What do you make of it all?
No, I'm not a huge fan of. Look, I feel like most of these dentists that I speak to, because I have foundation dentists and I do like a few talks here and there, and most of it is they want to know is about cosmetic dentistry. They want to know about bonding and veneers and smile makeovers and short-term ortho. But one, they haven't got their basic skill set, and two, is it just peer pressure? Do they all want to do this because they think that's the answer that they're meant to say, because that's what makes them hireable? Because that is all they see online, right? Because I'm not sure they would have got into their unis based on, oh yeah, I want to do bonding, right? You got into uni or you started thinking about dentistry because you wanted to help people do general work, maybe specialize in something. I very much doubt you went in your uni interview and said, oh, I want to be a cosmetic dentist, because I don't think you'd get in with that. Do you know what I mean? So they need to look and not follow the crowd. And there's a huge market in general dentistry, right? And they need to get their core skill sets right, learn how to communicate effectively, and not worry about everything that's on social media, and not have that pressure that they think that they need to be a cosmetic dentist. Because I would rather hire the dentist who came to me and said, hey, like, I'm interested in this, but I know I need to work on like my general dentistry. And I would rather learn how to really like take care of my patient holistically. And then, yeah, if they're showing a passion or drive into a particular field, then we go. And that's what we've always done. We've got, you know, most of my dentists now were my foundation dentists.
Yeah.
Yes, I got a couple that do short-term ortho. I got one who likes to do bonding. I've got one who's gone down towards like an endo route. Got one that's gone down towards an implant and oral surgery route. But it's just understanding what they need. And they never felt the pressure that, oh, okay, we need to deliver 10 Invisalign cases this week, right? Never done that. Just let them grow naturally and help mold these individuals into what their passions are, because that's what's going to outlast, right? The general dentistry is going to outlast everything because it's been around for years and it's going to be around for years.
The young dentists are in such a hurry to achieve. I mean, can they gross as much doing general?
Oh yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. For
Okay.
sure. And probably with less stress.
Yeah.
Probably with less stress, because a lot of the cosmetic patients or the cosmetic demanding patients, they're looking, that fraction of a millimeter, right? And those red flag patients we talk about, right? But someone has to treat them. Someone is treating them, right?
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's stressful. You can't have an off day if you're only doing cosmetic dentistry, because you need to deliver day in, day in, day out on every single patient, right? It's a high bar, because most of these patients can, they can see the tiniest discrepancy, and it makes it tough, right? General dentistry has its own stresses. Of course it does, right? And yes, there is you have to achieve, right? But the patients themselves, the expectations are wildly different,
Mm.
right? Most their core expectations is to not be in pain, to be treated with some respect, and to be listened to, right? That's a whole different thing from saying, I want a perfect smile by the time I get my bum off this chair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just want to leave their root canal and be like, am I going to be in a lot of discomfort after?
So I guess a practice like that, or where a dentist working in a practice where general is such a strong focus, there's less pain when it comes to advertising and marketing, because you've got people that are coming in for routine dentistry that are being seen, and there isn't this race to the bottom, need 100 leads, and need a sales team. It seems to me like a better business model.
Look, I sat with, not sat, I had a call with CareStack recently, right? And they were talking to me about their PMS, and he was like, right, you can integrate this with this. We have this AI that can find you all of these leads, and we can digitize all of this. So you don't have to do anything. You get all these leads, and we've got CRM doing this, and we've got all these things for all your leads. I said, I don't do all of that. And he goes, by the end of the conversation, he goes, you do none of this. I go, no, I do none of this. We are soft touch dental practice with no pressure. We don't chase anyone. If someone wants treatment, they have treatment. If they don't want treatment, they'll come back in 6 months. If they still don't want it, they'll come back. And if they don't, that's okay. It's fine, because we're not chasing you. We're not in sales. I'm here to tell you what you need or want, and it's your decision as to whether you want to go ahead with that. So my job is to tell you what's wrong. It's your job to have that. So we don't do any of those things. So if we don't do any of those things, I don't need any of those things. So it makes running my business so much simpler. I don't have a TCO, right? My receptionists coordinate. I don't encounter those headaches because we're not chasing those. What website did I tell you to build recently?
For your emergencies.
Yeah. I said, what do we want to target? Just emergencies, right? And then we'll turn them into lifetime patients. Told you, get me the bum on the chair, and then everything else will come. That doesn't mean that that patient's not going to go on to have an implant, but that's not what we're targeting.
So you don't have a typical sales machine. Your sales machine is what I speak about, which is delivering an experience that will get them to speak about you in their private circles. Is that how you've grown in your local area?
That's literally all we do, is that. And recently, because you told me to, I had to get some more Google reviews. So we started doing that. But other than that, no, that is it. We just sit there and we try to be well spoken about.
So you can do that. You're the practice owner. You're a great communicator. You can do that. I can see you doing that. How are you getting your associates, who may be very different to you, to operate in this way?
Because most of my associates, they either came to me when they were foundation dentists, or they came to me just soon after they were foundation dentists. And I'm not saying one of them came to me after she had 2 kids. So, it's not, oh, I'll only take them young sort of thing. I always tell them, in their spare time, especially when they first join, in your spare time, come and sit in my surgery. And so I don't need you to watch my hands. You don't need to watch my endo. I said, just come sit with me. I've got a sofa in there, and my patients are used to multiple people being in that room all the time. I said, just watch me talk. That's it. Just watch me talk to the patients. There's hundreds of different patterns, and you'll realize that there's a formula pretty much of what we say, and we just like we tailor it for every different patient. But how I speak to my trade patients is very different to how I speak to my financial advisor patients, and how I explain what a root canal is to certain demographics is different to how I explain it to another. They still get all the information, right? But it's how we explain things, and they learn to be, look, everyone can learn to be a good communicator. Just takes
Mm.
practice and then finding what works for you, because for everyone it's different, right? And delivering that message across eloquently.
What would you say to young dentists and students? Where should their focus be?
Communication.
How?
Because, well, right now, how much do they hear about, oh, you're going to get sued? Oh, you're going to end up in
There's a
front
lot
of
of
the
fear.
GDC, right? They come to us more and more scared every year, right? But no one's told them, and all they say is, oh, your consent needs to be perfect, right? But they're quivering when they're delivering that consent, because they understand that if that patient doesn't understand that consent properly,
Yeah.
they're going to get sued. That's all they're told,
Operating in
right?
fear.
They're operating in fear, but no one's told them, how do you build a rapport with a patient? How do you communicate with a patient so that you're not trembling when you see them? So how do you come across so that you're likable? Because actually the likable dentist with an unexpected outcome is far less likely to be sued or complained about than the unlikable dentist in the same situation,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So if they can make themselves more personable and relatable, right, that's going to help. So, look, everyone always complains when the patient first comes in and says, how many times do you hear it? I hate the dentist. That's normally the first thing they say, or one of the first three things they say. I love it when they come in and say that, because we've got an opportunity here to change perceptions, right? And those are,
How do you respond to that?
for me, it depends on the patient. If I've seen them long enough, I always say, it's fine, I don't like patients either. And they both be grumpy about it after. And they normally just laugh it off and it's fine. But other times I tell them, all right, if it's a new patient, it's always, all right, well, why'd you feel that way? Well, my wife's a psychologist, right? So it's always, why do you feel that way?
So there's a lot of questions in your consultation.
Yeah, there's a lot, but not necessarily about their teeth, but about why they have a perception of certain things. So why are you scared of coming? Or why don't you like coming? Or why don't you like my profession? Not in those exact same phrases, but it's trying to understand why their perception is a certain way
Yeah.
and then change that perception, right? Get them over it. I referred a patient for sedation for 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, not one.
How come?
Patient management. It's not because I don't believe in sedation. I know it works. I know it works effectively, but they're anxious of going, right? So they have an anxiety or fear behind it. So figure out that, because actually when you send them for sedation, it's got that amnesic effect and they haven't got over any of their fear or anything. All they've learned is, I got a really easy way out. I can just go for sedation and I will wake up and everything's done. Whereas I work on them and I work with them and we get over it, right? And they get over it. And I tell them all the time, because I don't want them to be attached to just me, right? Because we share our patients across practice. And I say, right, this isn't like, what I've done is not unique for you, right? Any dentist can do this. And I try and change their perception on what it is so that they don't feel like they need sedation anymore.
Wow. And your team are able to do this too?
Majority. Some are better than others. But
Yeah.
by the majority, they're trying.
One
Because it takes
finding.
patience, right?
Yeah.
And don't forget, as the principal, I don't have to earn as much as an associate thinks they need to earn, right?
Right.
Like, they think that they need to do a certain amount. I don't have that, right? Like, yes, I'm self-employed as well as they are, but as a
Yeah.
principal, it's different.
Have you found that taking this approach, these little things that you keep sharing with me, and even when we speak behind the scenes, that's contributed to your growth? Is this the secret to your growth?
I mean, I think it has to be, right? Like, because we're quite different to a lot of practices, especially with how we see things, right? And what we target and what we choose to not target, right? Like, when I speak to other principals or friends, they're very much about, like, yeah, we're about efficiency and we're trying to achieve as much as we can in an appointment. But at the same time, we sometimes blow that out the water when the patient comes in and says, Mick, don't really feel like it today. And they booked in for an hour, and I'm like, you know what, love, that's all right. If we don't want to do it today, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I got an hour of free time, and that's fine, right? So I know it's about being efficient, but a lot of my friends, they want to know what's their running percentage, how much do they spend on materials, what's this? And I know it's important to know your numbers, and I get it, and we're not running at a loss. So, but it's more just, I only need a certain amount for me to have my free time with my family, right? So above that, I don't really, let's go sound very, I don't really care so much.
When you see education online from other dentists that have set up a practice and now they're delivering a course, do you ever listen to what they're saying and think, no, I don't agree with that?
Oh, most of the time. Most of the time, which is why, and I don't, it's not because, oh, I think I know better. Not at
Yeah.
all. I only got one practice. Some of these people have multiple and empires, and what they may be trying to sell may be, right for certain people at certain places. But I don't think it's as reproducible as the sales pitch says it is, right? And I think bringing a lot of authenticity to your practice and making it a lot more bespoke to who you are and pitching yourself in a community will probably serve you better. And I think these courses are great for that, like dentists never get taught anything about business, right? So all the numbers side and, what you should spend on this and all of these things, like knowing your numbers and putting a business plan together, like that's all important, right? Like not being ripped off by this supplier or not being ripped off by your builders, like that's all important to know, right? But the actual, what your practice should be like, and oh, you should chase down these high ticket things because you need your gross turnover to be this so that you can do this and this. Your practice needs to, earn X amount per month. I just don't believe in that. I just think it will come, right? It's the build it right, and it will come.
I feel I share that philosophy with you. Even as a marketer, I don't really believe in having to spend, right? There's a practice out there that feel if I don't spend this, I'm not going to be successful, in excess of 3 to 5. Some are even spending £20,000 a month on generating leads for a business that can be self-generating leads just through the little things that they do. And I wrote the book Experience Marketing for Dentists, How to Grow Your Practice Without Spending a Penny More on Marketing. I feel like that's what you've done, and I feel that's what it makes me so interested in you and your journey. If you were to open another practice today, right? Let's just say anyone listening might be thinking, right place, right time, got a great practice. If you were opening another practice today, what core principles would you apply to make that practice successful?
So I'd make sure I was as present as possible, but not necessarily I was the one treating, right? Like even in my practice now, when I'm free, I'll go sit on reception. I'll check patients in. Well, sometimes there's no space for me on reception, so I'll just walk around the waiting room, smile at patients, have a chat with them, and I would make sure that I would do that, right? Because you know what it is? It's like when you go somewhere, they're like, "Oh my God, the boss came and spoke to me today," or the guy who owns the place came and spoke to me.
People love saying that, don't they?
They love saying that. I don't know why. I mean, I love saying that as well. Like when I'm in a restaurant and like the chef comes and like, the chef spoke to me. Do you know what I mean? But it's, I would be present, right? And I know that makes it hard to grow place and place. And you don't always need to be present. And I'm not saying that it's all about you.
But this is an unheard tip. I've never heard anyone say this.
But I would just be present, and I would, let my...
Just be visible.
Yeah, be visible. And then it's fine if I'm not the one treating, because I already got my other one. But if my associates, whoever are there, but if I'm there to shake their hand after, or to check them in, or to take the payment, or to ask them how their experience was, they know I'm visible, which means they know that my eye's on the ball. So I'm not sure they'll mind so much who they see unless they have a huge preference, but they know. And I don't walk around and say, "Oh, hi, I'm Mick, I'm the owner." Like I don't do that, right? It's just I have my uniform on. It doesn't even say principal dentist on it.
But they feel
It
it.
says Mick. And that's it. But they just know, because the presence is slightly different, because you have that air of confidence about you. And why else would you be walking around the practice saying hello to people? It's kind of like one of those, what else is he going to be doing here sort of things. I would just be present and pitch yourself in that community. Go up and beyond for certain people. Like one of the things that helped us massively in our community, and I didn't do this for this reason, it just happened, and it just went semi-viral in the local area. But we had a kid like, I don't know, a few months after we bought the practice, and the mum came to us, and she was only like 4 or 5 years old, and the mum was like, I'd never seen her before, so it's like new patient to me, but a patient of the practice, and we were just talking about like diet and stuff like you normally do in a checkup, and she said, "Oh, my daughter's not been eating." I said, "Oh, like, what do you mean?" And she goes, "Yeah, I've been having to give her some sugary drinks because she won't eat food at all." So I said, "Oh, why?" And she goes, "Oh, she's got a fear of choking." So I said, "Oh, how did that happen?" She goes, "Oh, she must have like watched something or something happened at school, but she's just all of a sudden developed this fear of choking, and I can't get her to have like any solids." So uh, we spoke to her for a while, and I asked my associates to take some of the patients that were after. She was in there for about an hour with her mum and her brother. And then afterwards, we said, like, look, okay, we're shutting at 5 or 5:30. I said, why don't you go? There's a fish and chip shop down there. I said, so why don't you go get something you want to eat? So go get some chips and some sauce or something, grab a drink, and come back here. I showed her the suction, right? And I showed her like the medical, like the soft parts of the medical bag. I was just saying, look, if you choke, right, I've got you. I've got a suction. I've got all this equipment here. And if you start choking, I'm trained. I can help you, right? And I think the mum was looking at me like I was a weirdo, and I don't know if she thought that I was being serious. But I said, no, I'm being serious. I'll stay here after work, and I will sit with your daughter, and we'll have a meal, right? And I know you're not meant to eat inside surgery, so I get that. But it was after hours and whatever.
Yeah.
So she went and she got a portion of chips and she got some ketchup, and she came and she bought a bottle of water, and she sat there, and it took her 3 hours to eat this one portion of chips, right? But she ate it, and she ate it all, and she was smiling by the end of it. And then we spoke to the mum like a couple of days later. I didn't know she had taken any photos or anything, the mum, and she did, and she put it up on Facebook, and it had like thousands of like likes
Really?
and stuff from like local people, and we got a lot of like plaudit for it, which was fantastic. It was fantastic for the business. It's not at all why we did it. I didn't know she even took the picture. And that patient still comes to see me now, and we spoke to the mum a couple of days after, and we kept following up with her. She said, yeah, she's back to eating like normal. And it's just that little going up and beyond, exchanging a bit of your free time
Yeah.
to help someone, and it just goes a long way.
See, that for me is breaking the mold of business. That is how businesses get spoken about. And I love that you said that I had no intention of it to turn into a marketing tool for me whatsoever. And even in my book, and even the customer service stuff that we talk about, is give without expectation,
Yeah.
and amazing things happen. So I can see now why you've done so well without having to rely on, what everyone else is saying you should be doing.
But you know that mindset when you come into work and you're cheerful, right? You're a bit positive when you come in.
Yeah.
And we have this thing at the practice. I always tell all the staff, and I tell my whole family, I tell everyone, I never ever want anyone to come to me and say, oh yeah, I'm surviving, right? Because I never say survive. I say, we always want to like thrive. Always say thrive, don't survive, right? So don't come into work and say, I'm just going to survive, right? I said, we pitch ourselves as we're going to thrive every single day, right? And I tell my kids that all the time. I tell my wife, I said, I don't want you to tell me that you survived today. Tell me about what you thrived. What did you achieve today, right? You come to work with that mindset about achieving and thriving, and all of a sudden the work comes, right? Because you're positive. You're positive with your patients. You're positive with your staff. It's contagious, right? The whole practice gets to pick up. The energy levels are different. And you know what? Sometimes when it feels like the energy's low at the practice, it will be 8:45 in the morning or 8:30 in the morning. I will turn the music all the way up on all the speakers, and it will just be loud until people can shake their funk. And they now know it's like a
That's a
call
good
for alarm, right? They know mix with the loud music really loud today. So they know that let's pick the mood up.
That's a wonderful tip. I hope people implement this.
Yeah. And it's just about the energy, right?
Mick, it's been a fantastic conversation. Before you go, I want to ask you, what is success for you today? What does that look like for you?
Enjoying my career, spending time with my family, being present for my kids, letting them look out into the crowd and know I'm there, being there for my wife and my family. And it's not all about drive and what's within the four walls, right? The memories will be my measure of success.
Is there anything more you could ask for?
No, I'm in a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love my life.
It makes me so happy to hear that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shaz.
Thanks for listening to Successful, Depth, Not Display. If today's conversation inspired you, please do subscribe and share with like-minded people. You can discover more about our guests on successful.dental. I'm Shaz Memon, and I'm passionate about helping practices rank organically on Google to attract high-intent patients. At Digimax, we use 20 years of proven SEO strategy rooted in patient psychology to make that happen. We're also known for our patient conversion machine websites, not just beautiful, but engineered to turn more visitors into patients, using everything we've learned over 2 decades. I'd also love to introduce you to Dental Bio. With Dental Bio, you can build your personal brand by sharing where you work, write blogs and articles, showcase your reviews, add links, your transformations, and more. Everything you need to build your personal LinkedIn Bio website all in one place. Get started for free. Just visit dental.bio. And if you'd like to support my charity powered by the incredible UK dental community, visit wellsonwheels.co.uk or search No Waterland on Prime Video or Apple TV to watch the documentary. I'm Shaz Memon. Until next time, remember, success isn't just a result, it's a feeling. It's fulfillment, contribution, growth, connection, and being true to yourself. Real success is lived from the inside out. For me, it's about depth, not display. Thank you.